Hi, everyone. Coach Heather here. We're going to get right to the heart of the matter for today's session, which is Move the Needle in 2025, some strategic steps for entrepreneurial leaders. And specifically in this live, I want to talk about how you can kickstart 2025 with clarity and purpose. I'm going to hopefully help you identify some areas where you can put your focus to move the needle most for your business. So you've probably heard me say this before, but in entrepreneurial businesses, we are always doing as much as we can with limited resources, not unlimited resources. And because our team is made up of human beings like ourselves, we are naturally also limited resources. We can do amazing things, great problem solving, collaborative thinking, creativity, but there is a limited amount of time that we can do that at our very best. So, as a business matures and a team grows up alongside of that business, and the business has ever expanding needs, we as team need to learn how to make best use of ourselves first and foremost, right? Learn with how you work with yourself first, and then apply that and expand out to who you want to be with your team. What are you mentoring? How are you helping guide and develop the team in how to think about themselves as limited resources and make the best use of their time and skill set for the business? You have to be thinking about all of these things. So, one of the things I want to anchor in as we get started here is what I call the 4 buckets. And it's just a graphic here I'm going to share that helps you think about strategic planning. And this is the time of year, if you don't have a strategic plan already, perhaps you're revisiting it at the moment at the top of the year. But I like to think about strategic plans with these 4 buckets of thinking. We need to think about our financial goals and our strategic goals, which you see up top. And then those help inform, we get clarity on those first. Financial goals, what are the main goals of the business for the year? And strategic goals are anything new, big, or different for the business that we're focusing on for 2025 and beyond. Now, when we have that data for the top buckets, it allows the team to think about these bottom buckets. What are the priority projects that we are going to focus on in order to get those goals up top, right? Because again, we're limited resources, so we want to apply our thinking in more powerful ways to be able to assess what do we most need to focus on? What's the best use of myself and my team as resources? Right. Okay. And then that other bottom bucket is also where the team thinking lives, where together we can say, as we look at this picture for the strategic plan for our business, okay, if we have these financial goals and these strategic goals, which then define these things to be the priority projects, with the clarity that we can get on those 3 areas, what does that mean needs to be internally improved upon within the business? I was just speaking with a client earlier this morning who is going through the process of updating their CRM and updating their membership and delivery. It's a big project right now, and it's connected to all of their big goals for the coming year and beyond. They're doing a big technology shift in order to simplify, save some money, but also expand the way they're able to serve their clients in the new year. And that is an internal improvement project when we're changing these softwares and technologies in order to better serve our clients. I hope that's a good example of how we have to then think with this. We know our financial goals, our strategic goals, they define priority projects. And then what does that then mean are some internal improvement projects that the business may need? Another example, if you have a huge project launch or event as part of your strategic or financial goals for 2025, it may mean that you need to increase your support staff before that event or big product goes live. Why? Because if it's successful, you'll be serving even more clients. You want to get ahead of that. You want to anticipate that and have an internal improvement project of up-leveling the team in the support area. So let me just show you again. This is the main scoreboard you align to with your team, and you want to be revisiting this. This is not something we pull out just once a year and get clarity around, or even once a quarter. When you have questions about what you're working on and why, where your team needs to focus most, or something goes way differently than you expect, and you're now having to assess what is the best way forward from here. These are all reasons and examples why you would pull out this 4-bucket strategic planning thinking and think, what needs to give? Is this still contributing to our financial goals and strategic goals the way we intended? Or do we now need to shift something in this picture? Right? So I want you to think about this way of thinking about and relating to your strategic plan as a living, breathing entity, to come back and revisit and think about throughout the year. All right. So let me just stop this share. The strategic plan and just being able to, as you see those 4 buckets, it helps inform what questions you may have. Often when we are on a team, what we need to do in practice is the ability to pull other people's thinking out, to get greater clarity from them. Because here's the thing, as human beings, we have something all figured out in our brain, and then we go to communicate it out loud and we miss details. We don't fully realize, without a lot of practice and development of our own leadership and communication skills, we may have gaps in what we think people already understand, and therefore what we communicate versus what we don't communicate, right? So a lot of our time spent in our roles and on teams in working with others is to get curious and ask questions, and to go back to the strategic plan and say, hey, are we still heading in that direction? Where are we doing? How are we doing in relationship to our goals? Do we need to do anything new, big, or different, right? There's lots of questions we can ask on an ongoing basis that'll help continue to set ourselves, the team, and ultimately the business up for success. And that's what we're really focusing on today, is things that will help you get clarity and move the needle in 2025. All right, great. So I have one other thing I wanted to share with you. Here we go. This I'm going to make real big for a second. This is what we consider, and I am a co-CEO, program director, executive coach at a company called Empowering Leadership Teams. If you want to learn more about us, there's ways to do discovery call and other things linked below this video. Here are what we consider the different levers, different areas of your business that you can continually look to say, what do we need? Where do we need an up level in how we're doing things together as a team in this business? The good news is it's not really more than these areas, but we have times where we have to focus more on how we're doing on planning, because it's so critical to all the moving parts in the business right now. There might be times we have to extra focus on systems, process, structure. So how we organize ourselves and our business, that might be the key to moving the needle most and helping you get your goals this year. Can you see it? There are other times where, how are we doing as a team think tank? Are we supporting each other well? Are we communicating? How are we doing in our decision making together? Okay, we're good when the stakes are low, but what about when they're high? How could we up level, right? Then self-leadership. This is the individual team member's part, your part, and then each member of the team has their part. How are you showing up? Is everybody showing up emotionally reactive, or are you showing up as individuals in self-leadership and coming together as an empowered collective to get results? Where would you grade yourself on a scale to 1 to 10 in any of these areas? And do you see an area here that if you put a little intentional effort in up leveling, you could really take everything you and the team are able to achieve to the next level for 2025? We have the next group I haven't talked about yet here on this image is clear outcomes. People think they are communicating clear outcomes. One of the things I have seen in the almost decade of my executive coaching work is that people often communicate what they think are clear outcomes, but actually end up giving their team members some fuzzy outcomes. And that's where an empowered, self-led, self-leadership team can work together to ask questions and clarify all the fuzzy outcomes, not leave ourselves with fuzzy outcomes. This could be a great intention for the new year for the team, that we work on communicating clear outcomes, and we're committed to asking questions for clarification when things are fuzzy, because we ultimately know that sets the business up to get the best results. Okay, and then the other bucket here, effective interaction and negotiation. Now, the great systems, process, structure of the world, we need them, but how the team shows up in them defines everything about what you're going to be able to accomplish together as a business. You will hear Barbara and myself, us as a company, empowering leadership teams, talk about agreements a lot. We think of agreements as the main mechanism of teamwork. They are in everything. It's how we get things done. And almost every company I've ever worked with could up level their communicating, up level their agreement making, and up level their ability to renegotiate when things go differently than they expect. So this is another area, effective interaction and negotiation, that you may look and think, oh, we really could take that to the next level for 2025. So I want to give you a second here. Consider for yourself whatever you may know about the strategic plan and how things are going, and how things are going in your role performance and the expectations that you know are falling on you in your role. Where do you think that you and your team could focus and therefore leverage some movement, some growth that will help you move the needle swiftly for the business in 2025? Please take a moment to consider. All right. Thank you for playing along with me if you are. All righty. Okay, I'm going to share one more thing, kind of covering a lot today. Now we're going to talk about your part. Just the individual part within, how you're showing up. This is the area that you have the most control over, right? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? In my year-long leadership training program, the Empowering Leader Collective, leaders really, really resonate with the idea of their leadership reputation. Your leadership reputation can be a great anchor for you to consider where you are now, what you think your reputation might be. And then I want to invite you to think, what would be the next level for your reputation? Where might you want to improve your reputation in 2025? What would you be doing differently in your role, in your communication with others, in your collaboration, in your engagement? What would you be doing differently in 2025 if you were to be achieving at a whole nother level? Now, I brought up this main image, empowering leadership, because this is what we at Empowering Leadership Teams think of as some key tenets of what it is to be an empowering leader and demonstrate empowering leadership. So these are areas where you could consider, how am I really doing, and could I lean in to doing this area of empowering leadership with a little more intentionality? So you see here on the image, how are you acting from self-leadership? This is your fight, flight response versus choosing how you show up. Are your actions more often deliberate and intentional, or are they emotionally reactive? On a scale from 1 to 10, where would you say you are today when things are the most tense and the pressure is on? And where would you like that to get to? Okay, apply compassion. This is for yourself, for others, for everyone on the team. Are you quick to compassion or quick to judgment? Remain curious. Curiosity is a number one tenet of self-leadership, but it takes work to remain curious. Our emotionally reactive fight-flight system that isn't really designed for the modern business place would have us be more reactive. But curiosity comes with slowing down and thinking, what is it that I don't know about this situation? What else could be going on here? So curiosity is very key to leadership. Do you live and demonstrate this remaining curious? Or do you think you could up-level that? Okay, I said a little earlier, we love agreement making here at Empowering Leadership Teams because agreements are the main mechanism of teamwork. And they are either running in the background, not communicated out loud, or they are communicated and confirmed. And they set us up to take the most effective action together. So on the day-to-day, as you interact with your CEO, leadership, and team, do you demonstrate good agreement making? Do you leave team meetings with a clearly defined plan that's confirmed and agreed upon? Or do you talk about things and then hope everyone understands what their part is? How are you doing with that? Do you think you could up-level it with some intentional focus on better agreement making? If so, would you like to take that on for this first quarter of 2025? All right, and then last but not least here, listen to learn. Listening is a key leadership skill. I'm not the first person to say that, but I think it's always important to remember that listening is actually a leadership skill that we can develop, that there is a need to develop, right? Because we're born, we're humans, like we get used to thinking we're listening. But listening to learn is a whole different focus. Can you feel that shift? Listening with the intention to learn. Listening with that curiosity of what I don't know that I don't know. So I invite you to consider, when you're in team meetings, when you're receiving Slack messages from your team or emails from your clients, are you engaged in active listening and listening with the intent to learn? Or are you just jumping in to respond? Do you think it would help you to put a little focus on being mindful about how you're listening in your role and in your leadership. If you'd like to take that on for the first quarter of 2025, please take note. Oh, all right. So consider these key aspects of empowering leadership, and that this is completely within your dominion. I hope that this was helpful today and gave you some pieces to kind of tap into for how you want to shape how you're showing up in 2025. I want to leave you with one last thought. As leaders and team members in entrepreneurial business, we are often running fast and have a lot to do with limited resources. But one of the things I have noticed in working with leaders and team members alike in these environments is that we do not claim our wins enough. I think it might have something to do with the fact that we are stretched thin and we are doing the best that we can. So it can be hard because often you're inside of yourself and your experience in your role or with your team, and you're feeling like we could have done it better. And because of that, you miss the wins. Well, I don't want you to miss the wins. So I invite you, before you move quickly into 2025, take a moment still and make sure you've reflected on your wins that you and your team had in 2024. Make sure you've acknowledged your team. Make sure you've acknowledged yourself. And let's build a habit in this new year of 2025 to claim wins on a weekly basis, because it's the thing that fuels us. Acknowledging ourselves and acknowledging others will give us energy back to keep diving in and doing what the business needs and expanding who we are and the impact that we can have. I'm wishing you all an amazing 2025. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Barbara on my team does these great discovery calls, which are great one-on-one intro coaching sessions that help you get a little more flavor of our company and what we do and how we might be able to help you. There's a link down below if you'd like to schedule a discovery call. So go ahead and check that out and take the time, because we love what we do and we'd love to meet you and love to support you further. Again, thank you for your time and attention. Take care. That's it for right now. Let's kickstart 2025 with clarity and purpose. I'm cheering you on.